Tuberculosis remains an important public health problem in India. According to a WHO study, every day over 4,000 people lose their lives to TB, and close to 30,000 people fall ill with this preventable and curable disease. Awareness about this disease, its diagnosis and treatment among public will help in controlling the killer disease. At MediCircle, we present to you the World TB Awareness Day series, where we are featuring eminent clinical pulmonologists, immunologists, and chest physicians treating tuberculosis, through which we aim to create awareness and at least educate the public about the impacts of TB and around the world. I'm Smita Kumar, and today our guest for the talk is Dr. Shobita Rao. Dr. Shobita Rao is an associate professor in the Department of Respiratory Medicine, Srinivas Institute of Medical Sciences and Research Institute, Mangalore. She has also around 10 years of experience in the field of pulmonology. Her areas of interest include allergy and asthma, tuberculosis, COPD, sleep medicine, and critical care. Hi, Dr. Shobita. Welcome to World TB Awareness Day series at MediCircle.
Thank you so much for having me here. Okay.
We are also very much excited to have you here because we have got a lot of questions for you. So to begin with, Dr. Shobita, India accounts for about a quarter of the global TB burden. In March 2017, the government of India set a target of completing the elimination of TB by the year 2025. How much do you think we have been able to cure TB in India by that time, by this time?
Okay. Like you said, I mean, see, in 2017, we had the goal of eliminating TB by 2025.
Yes.
Considering how common and the incidence and prevalence of TB, it's a very ambitious goal. But I guess the saying, aim for stars, you will reach still higher, you will reach higher than what you would have normally, holds true here. It is quite difficult target that has been set. But the good thing is we are going in the right path. Okay. See, achieving, I think we had a major setback last year, which probably is going to put a slight dent on this eliminate TB goal. But going by the statistics of 2018 and 19, we were doing decently well. As 2019, we reported around 24 lakhs cases worldwide. I mean, sorry, we contributed so much cases to the world TB, 24 lakh cases, which is quite a big number. And the deaths of TB in India were 79,144. But this is still less than what it was in 2018. And an important marker, that is the success rate, that is how much percentage of people actually completed treatment, was this quite impressive, when 81% in 2019, because in 2018 it was quite low, 69. So 2018 to 2019, we had significant improvement in statistics. The cases have come down, the deaths had come down, success rate was better, people completing the treatment was better. But yeah, last year, I think this year's statistics would not be that impressive because we've had some major setback. But towards eliminating TB, we are in the right path, because see, I work with as diagnosed cases, we refer them to government centers, and we work closely with these government set-up centers. In terms of TB, I can tell government has allocated impressive funds. Each and the smallest of the PHCs that are there are equipped with healthcare workers who know what they're supposed to do. They know how to administer medicines. Even the medicines are in good supply. The counseling of patients and their follow-up is done regularly. So I guess though we may be far from achieving the goal for various reasons, but we are on the right path. I guess that is what is important. So hopefully we will eliminate TB by 2025. If not, there may be a slight delay, but we should still be able to achieve the goal of eliminating it.
Surely. Doctor, so one question is related to the investigation, Dr. Shobita, there's an LTBI test which needs to be done for the TB diagnosis, tuberculosis diagnosis. So how important is that, and what is exactly this test about?
See, latent TB, basically TB is nothing but an infection that is caused by a bacteria We've heard of all urine infections, respiratory infections. This is similar, but just that the bacteria that cause TB is different from these bacteria. So that's why it's understanding latent TB. What LTBI is, a latent TB infection. The concept of latent TB infection is kind of unique to TB. What happens is, say a person of TB coughs or generates coughs or sneezes. This generates particles, droplets in the air. So now this air droplets contain this bacteria. So when somebody who doesn't have the disease inhales this, they get this infection, and that's how TB spreads, by cough droplets from an infected person to a non-infected person. Now, when it comes to TB, not everybody who inhales this bacteria gets the disease. Okay, so what happens is, we inhale, say a person has inhaled, the bacteria goes into deep into his lungs and is there. Now, if an individual has a good immune system, it can fight the disease. Okay, so this is sort of the bacteria is kind of fought with the immune system, and it kind of contains the infection, is what we say. What contains means, in simple words, would be something like jailing. Okay, the bacteria is at the center, and your immune cells are all around, protecting preventing the bacteria from spreading outside to the rest of the body, that is the lungs and blood system. So this kind of jail system of TB bacteria is what is latent TB infection. In LTBI means that the individual has been infected with the TB bacteria. It is sitting within his lungs, but the immune system is strong enough to contain it. So it has not caused the disease per se. This concept is important because it is said that around 30% of these people can develop an active TB in future. So if you have 100 people with latent TB infection, it's likely that 30 of them in future, at some point in their life, can develop active TB. This happens usually when their immune system fails. So some of the diseases which can cause our immune system to fail is, one most important in India, why TB is actually problematic, is malnutrition. So if for some reason persons is stressed, is not able to take good nutritious food for whatever reasons, malnutrition is there, or if he ends up getting diabetes, say kidney disease, malignancies, medicines, there are certain medicines which can decrease body's immunity. So in future, if any of these immune altering condition happens to this patient, then the TB bacteria, which was kind of jailed, can break free. So it sort of now becomes stronger than the immune system and starts spreading everywhere, and that's when the person actually gets an TB. Okay, so latent TB infection, if we can diagnose latent TB infection, we will be diagnosing TB at an early stage, much before the disease has actually occurred. Okay, so the tests, but then latent TB infection is actually much different from diagnosing TB. We cannot use all tests of diagnosing TB for latent TB infection. For example, one of the common tests for diagnosing TB is doing a sputum test. We ask the patient to give sputum and check for the bacteria. We do X-rays. Now, all these tests are likely to be normal in a patient with latent TB infection because he still doesn't have TB. That's the thing. He doesn't have the disease. Okay, it's deep within his lung, but it's so little that his immune system is kind of sort of masking the thing. So there are only 2 available tests as of now to diagnose latent TB infection. We do a skin test, that's called Mantoux test, and a blood test called interferon gamma release assay. So these 2 tests basically check for the infection with TB. And the root tests like sputum tests and X-rays and CTs are usually going to be normal in these cases. So these tests are not like for Mantoux test and IGRA tests are not used for diagnosing active TB also. So it's both ways. The tests of disease TB state cannot be used for latent TB infection. Similarly, the test for latent TB infection cannot be used to diagnose the disease. So they are kind of different in their own ways. Though it is the same, it's a spectrum of disease. One is the early stage, the other one is probably once you already have the disease.
Sure. So Dr. Rao,
I hope that answers the question.
Yes, sure. So there is one thing which is always being relatable with TB, that TB being a fully curable disease, and there has been a lot of awareness among people. Even government is doing a lot of drives Like there are a lot of campaigns to make TB free, to make a TB free India. So, but however, we find even this, in case of India also, we are not able to combat it fully. So what do you think are the drawbacks and how we can work towards that better?
Like I said, TB is slightly more complex than other infections. That is probably the major drawback that we're facing. So, though it's fully curable, there are patient-related factors and system-related factors, both of which are hindering elimination of TB. From the first thing about we would start with patient-related factor. Like you rightly said, it's curable, but a lot of patients still don't know about this. Okay, there is a lot of stigma also attached with it. So people look at it like it's we have diagnosed TB. We tell patients, we have seen there is one section of society which is probably better educated, and they themselves come with, okay, I have cough for 2 weeks, doctor, can you allow TB? But then there's another section which doesn't want to hear the word TB also. Okay, they look at it like it's something very bad. So probably that section of the society also needs to be educated. Okay, so probably the patient education needs to be done. Like the TB is curable, though we tell it very commonly, patients don't know that. Second is stigma. Okay, even now after diagnosis, there are some people who don't tell anybody that I have TB. Okay, please. And that sort of stigma is still there, that they will be treated like some untouchable because they have TB. So again, because of this, what we see is there is a delay in diagnosis. So people know when there is cough more than 2 weeks, it can be TB, you need to come to the doctor. But they sort of, kind of, no, it may not be. And other thing is, see, there is symptom overlap. We can't just blame the patient. Cough since 2 weeks, a lot of other conditions like allergy and common conditions like that also can cause. So a lot of them sit at home thinking, yeah, it may not be TB, it's just something simple allergy that is causing cough. So the sort of patients not being aware of the symptoms and the seriousness of early diagnosis. Early diagnosis always helps, but they're not aware of that. So that makes the diagnosis late. The problem is when they present late, they're likely to spread it to other people. That is what people don't realize. Okay, if say the patient has already had cough for 1 month and he comes to us after 1 month, we diagnose after 1 month, but in 1 month he would have spread it to so many people that there would be a delay plus spread of TB2 happening. The second factor is post-diagnosis continuing therapy. It's not a simple therapy of like we use antibiotic course of 2 weeks for most diseases. Here we have the course here is at least 6 months. In some cases, we have to extend it for 9 months to 1 year. So, I mean, it's easy to say, but 6 months is quite long. So having to motivate the patient is important. A lot of patients don't want to take medicines that long. And the thing is, within 2 to 3 months of taking the medicine, the patients start feeling normal. Yes. This is when we see people tend to stop the medicines. Okay, they don't continue the course. So, and that we can't again blame patients, because if there are no symptoms, patients are likely to stop. That is normal human mentality. If we don't have symptoms, why do we take medicine? So I think as healthcare workers, then it becomes our duty to educate them that, we need to stress as doctors and healthcare workers that you need to, counsel them to take the medicines for that long, motivate them to take medicines for so long. Definitely. And as with any medicines, there are some adverse effects that can happen, and patients tend to drop out on that too once the moment some adverse effects come. So I guess it's a collective effort to fight TB. The patient-related drawback would be lack of education on, lack of knowledge that TB is curable and how TB is caused, and the importance of taking medicines, and also doctor and healthcare worker related drawback where we fail to probably counsel the patient adequately. We need to tell them everything about TB and the fact that it is curable, and the thing that the treatment has to be completed for 6 months, without which it cannot be cured.
Definitely. So Dr. Shobhita, with another pandemic spreading across the world, what effect do you think coronavirus will have on people with tuberculosis?
Okay, coronavirus, as you've rightly said, affects the lungs, and tuberculosis also affects the lungs. So the organ affected is the same. Yes. But in India, we've seen that coronavirus, though has caused morbidity, the mortality has been lesser. It's less than the world average actually, and somewhere less than 1%. But yes, that doesn't mean it is not a bad disease. But see, the thing is, post-corona, we know some lung complications can happen, especially the fact that lungs can harden, but the percentage of individuals who develop this is very less. Similar to TB, even post-TB, their lung fibrosis is known. But as of now, there are two aspects to look. But does coronavirus affect the TB getting cured? No. As of now, we don't think that happens. And second is, does TB affect coronavirus? No. If a patient with TB is on therapy, doesn't matter that if TB is not diagnosed at that point, then it may be a challenge. But say a person with TB who's on treatment develops coronavirus, it should not either make his TB worse, and that should not affect his coronavirus disease too. So either ways, they're two separate entities, except for the fact that they affect the lungs. Yes, post-corona sequelae and post-TB sequelae, whether they can make the lungs in the individual's lung very weakened with fibrosis is something we still need more.
Yes.
But considering the fact that at least TB with good therapy can reduce the sequelae, I guess we should just wait and watch. But I feel it should not be something very disastrous, as long as yes, coronavirus is prevented, because we don't have a cure at this point, and TB is properly treated. So if an individual doesn't take his symptoms of cough because of TB lightly, we should not see many complications happening because of TB. Yes, delay diagnosis, somebody comes to us after 6 months, yes, the lungs are going to be damaged quite to an extent that maybe with therapy we can't do much. But as of now, our aim is to diagnose TB as early as possible so that the complications that it leaves is minimal.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Dr. Shobita, for sharing the significant information about tuberculosis with our viewers today. As we see the number of tuberculosis patients increasing, like I'm just sharing a study of in 2019, there was an estimated 10 million people who fell ill with tuberculosis or TB worldwide. Out of them, 5.6 were men, 3.2 million were women, and the children who were affected were around 1.2 million. That is a huge number. So TB is present in all countries and all age groups. It has got no barrier, and it is just not that it would be affecting only some specific kind of people. It would be like for males, females, children, and any age group and any income group. So TB, but it is completely curable and preventable. So I think with our initiatives like this, we are definitely trying to aware more and more people. Like if you are having symptoms of TB, like coughing or blood in your sputum or difficulty in breathing, there are so many symptoms which Dr. Shobita just discussed with us. You should be definitely visiting your doctor, and rather than waiting for something good to happen, because it is not going to subside it on its own. And it is like the other way, we are actually spreading this disease to more and more patients unknowingly. So thank you once again, Dr. Shobita, for joining us for this talk show. We wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, and all the best to you too for your noble initiative. Okay, bye. At least you're taking care of the one part of patient education this way, and help us fight TB.
That's what we are trying to do. Hope we are able to.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.